What's going on, everybody? I'd like to say a special thank you to the new Patreons and the original Founder Club member, PC Gamer, Amberlyn, Tizania, and Vengeance. We appreciate your guys' support more than you know, and if anybody's watching this and is interested in becoming a Patreon, the link is in the information below. We have a bunch of great perks. I do videos pretty much on demand, especially when we're still growing. So get in early, and especially get in early because of the Founders Club deal. If you donate the minimum of $5 a month, you will get the top tier perks. And now the top tier right now is $20 perks. It's only going to go up as we grow. So as long as you just keep doing the $5, you'll always get the top tier, whether it's $20, $30, $40, $50, or even $100. So thank you guys again. Your support means a lot. I'd also like to congratulate the winner of our Game of Thrones sportsbook competition, Herb Coswell, who received a $20 Amazon gift card. I hope you enjoy, my friend, and I hope to see you in future competition.
Don't fight in the north or the south. Fight every battle, everywhere. Always. In your mind.
What's going on, everybody? Justin Thomas here. If this is your first time finding me, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get updates every time I upload. Now, today's episode will be a little bit different. I kept coming across a lot of Season 8 predictions for characters and, storylines and stuff like that from some of the top YouTubers from this genre. But how would I do it if I were to be writing it? And how could you do it since there's only 6 episodes, which I think is just a massive oversight. That is not enough time to tell this story properly. The only way that actually makes sense and is realistic for these storylines and character arcs that need to be completed by these 6 episodes is to take the characters that have intertwining storylines, anything that overlaps, literally characters that are just going in the same direction, and put them in the groups. And that's how they would most likely shoot this, because if you have every single character that you need to be focused on, every single storyline you need to be focused on in these 6 episodes shot separately and have them being isolated, there's just no damn way you can do it, extended or not. And I guarantee that we will only get a max of an hour and a half extra altogether for the season. And as being gracious, it's probably going to be like 40 minutes. Remember last season? I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head right now, but it was not what they said. Oh, we're going to get a feature film every episode. Yeah, you're going to get like 5 to 7 more minutes on average. Hopefully it's more, but I'm just saying, I'm just being realistic here. So I figured take these storylines that can be grouped together, and they're not just grouped together just for the sake of grouping them together. They actually do work together. This group will be Sansa. Now the other group, I'm pretty much splitting them into 2 with like 6 episodes. Like I said, a lot of this is due to time, but a lot of it makes sense story-wise, since I believe there'll be the 2 groups. One will be Jon and Dany's group. They'll be solely fighting the army of the dead, and then you'll have Sansa and the people that are going to be with her that are going to be taking care of the Cersei problem. I see this as the best way to wrap up those storylines and those character arcs. Sansa can prove herself against her greatest adversary, arguably, since Ramsay is gone, and I think we'll see her dole out some vengeance without going as far as she did with Ramsay, in order to maintain a little bit of her self and not become a monster herself. I do think that we will see, but what I see happening is having this Sansa group. I'm just going to call it Team Sansa because she is the most prevalent character out of these group. Now I see Sansa needing to finish her story arc finally and just flawlessly showcase all of these skills that she has obtained throughout all of these terrible, tragic events that she has been through. No stumbling this time, just no question about it. Sansa is everything that she has grown to be, for better or worse. She's the only one that's, except for Tyrion, that has literally traveled all of Westeros and had extremely valuable experiences sadly, they were usually traumatic, but we need to see Sansa be at the top of her game this season, and I believe that that is going to include her leaving Winterfell. Now, a lot of people are talking about how she's going to disapprove of Jon and Dany's relationship. Here's the thing. I believe you're right. I believe that's probably true. I talked about a certain narrative tool that they utilize in Game of Thrones very well in the Why We Love Game of Thrones video so much. It's the ticking clock narrative method. It's the clock that they put to it. It's what set the first scene when we saw that the White Walkers were real and we knew they were coming. Not so subtly reminded of the metaphorical tick of this clock every single time we heard winter is coming, when they were focusing on the conflicts within and not the big picture. Now, that is going to be so pivotal for the story this season, because they need to knock it out. I don't know why they're doing it in 6 episodes, but regardless, that's what they're doing. So if you had to do it, you are going to utilize that clock, because you are at the 2-minute warning. Alarms going off, they're here. The clock is actually timed out probably about 20 minutes into the first episode. So yes, I don't think that she's going to be a big fan of Dany, at least at first, but as with a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, yes, they might be issues, but guess what? They're not going to really have to address them other than maybe 1 or 2 lines of dialogue about it, because I believe that the opening scene will be Dany and Jon arriving, and there will be the meeting with Sansa, and they will be talking about what's going to be going on, what they need to be doing, and Sansa might make a comment there, but it is going to hit the fan real quick. I believe the car hold will be hit by the walkers in the first 20 minutes of the first episode, and I believe that it is going to go from 0 to 10 that quick. There's going to be no time for discussion, either from Sansa, from Arya, from anybody, the small folk. It doesn't matter their feelings, because they are literally going to have death at their doorstep. So what are they supposed to do? They don't have time to sit around and deal with these interpersonal conflicts with these main characters that they would in the earlier seasons, because the walkers are actually there. So I think that Sansa is going to leave Winterfell, not because she's scared or weak. I think that she is going to show her intelligence, and she is going to leave to, number one, Jon is probably going to want her to get out of Winterfell, because I think it's going to be quickly established that Winterfell is going to be the Alamo of the North, and that's going to be their last stand. I think the Carhold is just going to get ran through. I think it's going to be the Carhold, because I'm using foreshadowing from the television show. I'm only using stuff that's been mentioned in the television show. I know we all love the books, but when you're predicting the television show, you can't use aspects that are in the books that are only in the books. That's not how it works. I know we hope that's going to happen. Like, oh, that'll be great. Oh, how cool would it be to see this? Guess what? The general viewer doesn't know what the fuck that is. People that make television, they want to make money. I might sound like a dick, but I just don't get it when people inject these aspects of the books into the just television show. They think it's just going to somehow work out. I don't know. But again, that's not how it works. That's not how it ever worked. They never overestimate the intelligence of the viewer. It's not smart business. So anyways, another thing that was foreshadowed was Sansa's awareness of Cersei. How even last season she saw her as the real threat, and she made quite a few remarks to Littlefinger and Brienne about it. So I believe that she is going to be a strong leader still. She might even take some of the folk that can't fight from Wintertown and the surrounding areas of Winterfell out of there, because I believe her in a group, and I'm going to get to who I'm grouping her with, and I'm again grouping them because they share common interests. Also, she's going to need to move, because she is going to need to head off the attack coming from Euron. So she has attack coming from Euron. Who do you think is going to be paired up with Sansa first? Well, number one, Brienne, because Brienne is her protector, and Brienne's not going to stay in Winterfell. She's going to have to go with her. And this is going to tie into Jaime a little bit later. But also, surprisingly, I think that Arya will be with Sansa as well. She will also leave Winterfell. And I know you all want to see Arya being Wolverine outside of the gates of Winterfell and tearing up White Walkers. And I believe that when the group I'm speaking of is in transit, they will encounter White Walkers. They just won't be part of the final battle with them, in my opinion. I think they will be going with Sansa, because Brienne, first off, is obligated. She took an oath to protect them. And also, Arya is tell me what you think Arya is more useful. In which situation is Arya more useful? Fighting with her skills as being able to put on a face and disguise herself as any person that she wants, essentially, from what the show has depicted, and potentially gain access to any area without detection. What do you think those skills are more fit for? Fighting a herd of mostly whites that are mindless animals rolling down hills, killing anything that breathes, or going against Cersei? Cersei's not going to leave King's Landing. Also, Cersei is on her list. Their way to shoot the series. Theon obviously is going to be trying to get Yara back. It makes sense for Theon to be grouped up. He might not always be with Sansa, but he's going to be grouped up. They could be traveling to either the Vale, because, hear me out, I do believe that Sansa is going to use her intellect, and she's going to secure a rock-solid alliance with the Vale. I kind of touched on this last few seasons, that they're there, but they're really not even supposed to be in the north. And technically, Sweet Robin, if he wasn't Sweet Robin, would be like, why the hell are all my Battermen up north and swearing allegiance to the King of the North? That's actually, that's treason. But anyways, I think that even though there's a lot of Knights of the Vale still up there, they are loyal to Sansa. Probably would want to shore up that alliance when literally death is on their doorstep. Sure, they rush in and they help with the Boltons and all that, but you probably want to really shore that up. And more importantly, having the Eyrie as a stronghold is great. It's further south. I think Riverrun is an option as well with Edmure Tully, a fellow family member. I think there's plenty of reasons why these group of people that I am including, and I haven't named them all yet, will be heading south. They have shared interests. Euron needs to be addressed. Now, who does Euron have with him? The Golden Company. Now, it would be ideal to not have to fight them, correct? So, somebody that maybe treat with them, and they most likely are going to have to fight them, so it would be best to have somebody that knows how they operate. Well, who knows how they operate? This is the most controversial person I'm going to group with this group, but Jorah Mormont. I know that Khaleesi is his life and love and all that, but first off, we know that Dany has no problem sending him away, and if Dany's going to be putting herself in harm's way, which she certainly is, she probably would rather not have Jorah there, because she knows of his obsession and, overprotectiveness of her. So,
someone who can and should rule centuries come and go without a person like that coming into the world. There are times when I look at you and I still can't believe you're real.
So what would you have me do as my advisor?
Better to try to negotiate with the Golden Company than a former member. And granted, I don't think that that's going to be successful, and it probably won't even happen, but who better to be there to combat them than a former member that knows how they operate? So Jorah is definitely going with the group. Like I said, Jorah, Brienne, Arya, Sansa, and now we're going to add the Hound. They foreshadowed this as well with the final episode last season. When they met, all the Hound did was ask about Arya. So I think it makes perfect sense. I would want to revisit the nostalgia with him and Arya, and also, and then everybody gets their Clegane Bowl. So Bowl, get hyped, son. Get hyped, son. Get hyped, son. Smash that like button.
Get hyped.
Smash like button. Smash that like button. So there's the aspect of having Brienne and him working together after that epic fight. So it works on so many different levels, and it makes sense. He is the person that first took Arya to the Vale. He is the person that spent all that time with Arya in the first 3 seasons, bonding with Arya. People yearn for that nostalgia. The next member is going to be Varys. If they're going to be dealing with Cersei in King's Landing, who better than the spider? Maybe you can get some little birds. Varys is questionable as his allegiance. I do believe there's a chance he'll betray Dany. This works either way, whether he betrays her or not. Going with this group south makes sense for Varys to be with him. Last but not least, Davos. Davos makes sense. They might need to get into King's Landing. Maybe they need to smuggle Arya into King's Landing. They want to avoid Euron's fleet. That one of the best people to have is that knows those waters at least as good as Euron does. Davos makes perfect sense for going to King's Landing. What really is he going to do in Winterfell? Or even if it doesn't take place in Winterfell the whole time. I don't see him fitting with Jon's group. It wouldn't make much sense just to have Davos in Winterfell because he, like I said, he's not a battle commander. He's not a particularly good fighter. It would just be him getting killed off there, and he will have his meeting with the Red Lady, which we'll get into later, and him traveling south. That makes that far more believable. So if I was writing it, I would definitely have him on the move. That gives him more opportunity for a believable run-in with Melisandre. So Sansa needs to go and secure the Vale's allegiance. She needs to address Cersei. The foreshadowing is there. Who better to go in and try to cut the head off the snake than Arya, her sister? So I want to quickly address some of the commonly believed events that are going to happen, some of our main characters. The most surprising one, I don't know why it should be surprising anymore, is that Sansa is going to die and Arya is going to survive. Even more so, Sansa is going to sacrifice her life for Arya, and Arya is going to survive. I guess Sansa's major fault is that she can't fight. So let's look at what is one of the major themes, messages of Game of Thrones. Now, is it violence is awesome and everybody that gets what they want, utilizing murder and destruction, ends up making the world a better place and ends up coming out on top? Or is it an anti-war and violence story that doesn't advocate violence? And especially, it's written by a feminist, most likely isn't going to be as likely to end a story arc like Sansa, a woman that has been brutally beat, raped, and just went through hell, as just never getting stronger and just dying a weak person because she couldn't physically fight. And the sister that lives is the one that can physically fight. What happens to warriors? They die. Sansa's true qualities are going to be much, much more useful in the aftermath of all this. And Arya's great. Arya's a great character. She's a very entertaining character and all that, but even who plays Davos, this was in an interview and he kind of went off, like, and I appreciated it. He's like, oh, these people keep saying Arya is always such a strong female role model and all that. He goes, she's a psychopath. She's a murderer. She is a bad person. And she is. I mean, she's entertaining to watch, but she's not the hero. And a weakness for Sansa is that, yeah, okay, I guess if she's going to go try to get in a sword fight, she's not going to do so well, but that's not her game. And again, they dropped the ball with her a lot, but I highly doubt that they're going to have her just get killed off. And what message does that send that is at all consistent with A Song of Ice and Fire's messages? The horrific consequences of behaving such as Arya does. Now, they've dropped the ball also with Arya by just making her into a superhero and so entertaining for people that people lose sight of that. But the point is, Dan and Dave know how they have to end. They're just racing to get there, obviously. So they won't be having Sansa die. Sansa's been groomed to do something that is actually needed for the aftermath of all this. Arya has been groomed to murder. She will murder her last people in these last few episodes and most likely be killed herself. This would be consistent with the theme of the story. But, again, I could be wrong. But, again, that would not be the way any feminist, George R. Martin considers himself to be a feminist, and is very open about how this is an anti-war story. So, I don't know. Was sending Brienne off and Sansa was in a safe place. Sansa is going to have to leave Winterfell, in my opinion, so Brienne's definitely going to go with her, and it's just relationships that we're going to see. The Hound with Brienne. I do believe Dolorous Edd will unfortunately die. I think that we're going to see the Night's Watch take quite a beating in the battle, since they will be on the front lines almost immediately. And as the 1000th Lord Commander, I think we will see Jaime for sure. I think he's going to go to Winterfell, and he's going to have a Littlefingerish chat with Bran, and Bran is going to recall him being pushed out the window, and Jaime is going to own up to it. They're going to tell him to take the black. There's so much foreshadowing for it, I don't even need to get into it. It's just, I think, gonna be a really great redemption arc for Jaime that we have been waiting for so long, especially us book fans. And I think that Jaime's going to do a lot of good with the Night's Watch, but I also think that Jaime is going to be linking up not only with Brienne, but Sansa, and I think that he is going to fulfill almost all of his oaths by helping Sansa out. I really believe that the action is going to kick off right away. Like I said, it's just the only thing that makes sense, that ticking clock is done. It is expired, and now it's all action, and that's how they're going to get away with a lot of just brushing through storylines. And the important ones will get resolved. I mean, the main things we need to know is the whole prophecy issue. What is going on with the Azor hype, the prince that was promised? How much credence does this really have? Is this really a thing? Why was Jon brought back? Why was Beric Dondarrion brought back? How will Lightbringer be forged with? I have a theory that I'll be discussing in the next episode with all that. So we have Jon and Dany's relationship as well as the baby that is most certainly coming. I mean, Chekhov's gun is the rule of bringing up a item in the first act, reminding somebody of that item in the second act, and using the item in the third act. And if they don't, then it was either a red herring or it was bad storytelling. They brought up Dany's pregnancy, I think, 7 times in the last episode. So I definitely think she's pregnant. I do think that there'll be a child. We'll get into all that. But I see Arya dying. I see Sansa living. I don't see there being a Iron Throne or a government, as I don't see them having the monarchy that Westeros has right now. I see it a little bit more realistic, because we also have to remember that it just can't go to a full-on democracy. It's a very rough thing, especially for even the peasants. We all believe that they would hate the king, but if George is going to stay true to history, you can't just take away all that people know, even though it's not a good system for them. That's what they're used to. These things happen gradually over time. You don't just change political systems overnight. I have some more solid ideas that I'll release in the final video, but as far as the battle against the Night King and how all that's going to play out with Bran, and we're going to have to wrap up his three-eyed raven storyline, and it's gonna have to make more sense than just Sansa saying, oh, he's a three-eyed raven now, brushing it off. Battle for the Dawn will actually end far quicker than we think it will. After episode 3, that'll be done. It's just going to be dealing with the aftermath, because I truly believe that the main point that Game of Thrones is going to be trying to make is, and has always tried to make, is that the real monsters are them, the people. The people of the realm are the monsters, and I do also believe that they have come back because of the dragons, and that has broken the pack. So again, I'll get more into that, but yeah, I really do see Sansa achieving great things, and I see her story arc, which I've had an issue with for a long time, finally paying off. And I don't mean to be stuck up about the Arya stuff, but I mean, I don't understand how anybody thinks that she, is the one that has anything left to do. I mean, I'm surprised that she's alive for this season. And again, I love her character. But, yeah, as far as the characters that I talked about, Jorah, I see him living. I see him being a guardian of sorts to Dany's child, because I don't believe that both parents will be there. If any position of power as a actual advisor or something that resembles a member of parliament. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get, it's not enough time for them to flesh out exactly what's going to happen at the end. I think we're going to see a lot of cutscenes of different things happening. I think we're going to see Samwell walking and showing the Maesters the destruction, and making them write about what's really happening and not ignore the magic or suppress it. I think that we're going to see, another generation. This isn't the last one. I've said it before. This is a saga. We will see the birth of a child, most likely Jon and Dany's child, and most likely named Lyanna. History repeats itself. So I will get into that more later. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think that we're going to get a lot of cool callbacks. I think that we're going to get a lot of the relationships that were so good in the first few seasons. We're going to... this grouping that I think is almost just impossible not to do. I could be off on a few people being in one place or another, and it could be more spread out, and some people could go back and forth. But I truly don't believe, like I said, that the Battle for the Dawn is going to last as long as you would think. I think that it's going to be over fairly quick, and the bigger focus will be the resolution of it and the explaining of the things like the White Walkers, Azor Ahai, the Prince that was promised, whatever you want to call it, and Bran as the three-eyed raven, and Samwell with all of his information with the Bran 3000. Also, the child, Dany's child, in the rebuilding, and Sansa, taking on that last remaining threat. But I'm Justin Thomas. Make sure to like and subscribe. I will see you guys soon. I'm Justin Thomas, and I hope you enjoyed that. No, I didn't see you guys there. I'm Justin Thomas, and I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you did enjoy that video, make sure to check out some of our other videos. Maybe right here, possibly right there. But make sure to subscribe right there. And we'll see you guys soon.
We'll get away. This is what we wait.